I am the girly shop teacher. What does that mean? Well, I am an internationally certified building trades instructor through two different agencies. My love and passion is carpentry, and I extend that to the next generation by teaching the building trades.
Okay, a carpenter. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know of any women carpenters.
Well, you're sitting in front of one
I'm
now.
sitting in front of a woman carpenter.
Yes.
My wife tries to do that to me all the time. She wants to she wants to drive the nail into everything. As soon as I pick up the hammer, can I show you how to put that nail in? Okay, so how did you get to be a woman carpenter?
By waiting for my dad to pick up the hammer and asking him, can I drive the nail in?
All right. So tell me a little bit about what your dad did to get you to this point where you are a woman carpenter.
So my parents bought the nastiest fixer-upper on Detroit's west side when I was a little girl.
Okay.
And we would spend every day after school doing something to improve the home, starting off with the basic cleaning, taking up the carpet, painting the walls, taking out drywall, moving walls to expand the house, expand rooms. And along the way, I just picked up this love of building from my dad, which has transcended into my entire life.
Now, I'm going to be honest with the viewing audience. I've talked with Tam about her dad, but I've also talked with her about her father.
Yes.
And if you listen to the stories of the two, you will find out there's one thing in common and significant. A man is needed in the household to raise children.
I 100% agree with that. There are so many children that are raised in homes that are single parent homes headed by moms. And moms do an amazing job. But there's something that is magical about having dad available, not just for the support of the children, but for the support with mom in order to help facilitate the lives of the children. So for all you dads out there, we need you.
And I find this amazing because Tam's dad passed away when she was 5 years old.
Right, right.
And then here comes another man into her mom's life. And this man had to really love your mother.
Oh, yeah.
For him to gravitate and take you into his arms like that.
He did. I never saw a difference in him loving me and loving my sister, who is his biological child.
Wow.
You know, I mean, of course I was there first, so I got a lot more of him. My sister wasn't born until 10 years into my parents' marriage.
Okay.
So she's 14 years my junior. And my daddy, who you all will hear about over and over again as my story is told, is the one that made all the difference. I've heard men say, I don't want to date a woman with children, or, you know, I'm not sure if I want to be the kid's dad, or I'll just step back. That's not the experience I had. Matter of fact, earlier this year, my dad transitioned, and there's some big party going on up in the heavens. He decided he wanted to be there with my mama, so that's where they are. But the morning of his service, I found the most I didn't find it. My aunt found it as she was cleaning up and looking for shoes. There was a book under his bed, How to Be an Effective Step Parent. Now, this whole time, I thought he was coming up with these original ideas. Now I know he was plagiarizing, but he did a really good job convincing me.
I have had many conversations with you since 2010.
Yes.
I've never had a conversation, I can't remember one where the privilege of him having been your dad has not come up. I just think, I'm hoping to all of the brothers out there, you're hearing what I'm saying. And it's kind of hard to just keep on bringing that out to you, brothers. You're going to find more love with your woman if you pay attention to the children.
Yeah.
You'll get, I always say a woman is like a Coca-Cola machine.
Mm-hmm.
She got all your Coke.
Mm-hmm.
She knows what your Coke is. She knows how much ice you like in it. She knows what glass you even want to drink it from. But sometimes us men, we're just too stupid to know what the quarter is.
Mm.
Now, sometimes we think, oh, we got to give her a car. Oh, we got to give her a ring. Oh, we got to give. No, you don't. That quarter is just something that comes along in the course of a day that makes her feel good that you did something for her and the children. You're helping, you're contributing, you're giving. And this is what, you can't do this by going out until 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning with the fellas.
No, you can't.
You can't do that.
No, you
It does
can't.
not work like that, because when the morning comes, you ain't getting no Coca-Cola.
That's true. You know, I was in a conversation with a group of gentlemen friends, and we were talking about the intentionality of the young lady that you're interested in, knowing that you are there to care for her. And some of the brothers were saying, well, you know, some of my financials are not to a place where I can really date or court. And I asked the question, well, how much money do you think your great grandparents had?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that your great grandfather could have possibly done to show that he cared for the woman in his life? I said, I can imagine a gentleman walking along the side of the road, coming from whatever field he was coming from, picking wildflowers. And for every pluck of every wildflower, you know that he was thinking of that woman that he was going to present it to.
There you go.
It doesn't have to be overly complicated. We're in this world now where women are defining which restaurant are you taking me to as a show of fidelity or a show of interest, or, you know, what are you purchasing me? Those things can be nice. But my daddy told me, when a man buys something from you, he's expecting something from you.
Amen.
Okay? What are you willing to give for the price tag of that particular item?
And this is so true. And I'm going to go back to my teenage days back up in Jersey.
Come on.
And I wasn't even 18, but I had snuck into this bar up in Trenton, New Jersey, with some guys that are a little bit older than me. They got me to get through the door. And all we did all night was lean against a wall,
Mm-hmm.
and we looked at the women and their shapes
Okay.
and their face and how we danced.
Right.
Then we're going to make a decision based on that, who we going to ask to dance.
Mm-hmm.
And most of all, we're going to make a decision based on that, on who we're going to offer a drink.
Yeah.
And then if we can get enough drinks in, well, we ain't going to talk about that part.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what happens is men always come at women through their eyes.
Right.
Women come to men through their heart.
True.
And I always attribute that to the fact that y'all played with doll babies.
Okay, I'm listening because I played with tools, but keep going.
Well, so you don't understand what I'm saying. Girls had doll babies.
Uh-huh.
And what did us boys have? Footballs and
yeah.
baseballs.
Mm-hmm.
And out on the street corners boxing each other and excuse me, audience, but drinking Ripple. You know, but the girls were being trained by their mother to learn how to be with a man.
Maybe that's why I'm single, because I was swinging tools.
But you understand where I'm coming from.
I do understand where you're coming from. I'm being silly.
And the guys, we're gonna stand out on the corner and box each other.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna talk about each other. We're gonna go into another town and have a gang fight while y'all were being prepped.
To nurture.
Right, relationships.
Yeah,
y'all
to
were being,
nurture.
and so all of a sudden, here you are, a senior in high school, and you trying to find somebody to go to the high school prom with you,
Mm-hmm.
and you're way off course, because the girls who are seniors along with you in your class, they dating older guys,
Yeah.
because you ain't matured.
True.
So, but I want to get off of that a moment, and what we're going to do is we're going to play one of your videos.
Yes.
Girly Shop Teacher. And when I saw this online that blew my mind, and everybody I've ever shown this video to has said the same thing. What?
Well, let's see the video.
Let's go ahead and look at it. Roll it.
Can you guess which tool is responsible for approximately 450 accidents a day in the U.S.? Hint, hint, it doesn't have a battery or a power cord.
You guessed it, it's the latter.
Each year, there are more than 164,000 emergency room treatments and injuries, including, sadly, 300 deaths in the U.S. In fact, most ladder deaths occur from ladders that are less than 10 feet tall. Now, I don't want to scare you from climbing a ladder. Instead, I want to set you up for success. The fact of the matter is, most people don't even think about using a ladder until it's time to climb one. Still, it's one of the most commonly used tools, seen in a variety of uses, like to access roofs, lofts, or other high places. No one really knows when the ladder was invented. However, the earliest evidence of a ladder is located in Valencia, Spain. The spider caves have a mesothemic rock painting of a ladder that is about 10,000 years old.
Okay, now, that was awesome.
Well, thank you.
It was awesome, but you got to tell me, I know your dad taught you.
Yes.
But how did you take those tools that he taught you and get to be one of the biggest and well-known carpenters in the state of Texas?
Oh, my goodness. So the story to me being more known and more influential started with my hairdresser. My hairdresser, Tracy, calls me up one day and says, hey, there's a teaching position available at Duncanville High School teaching the shop class. And I said, oh, I know some people that can do that. And she says, no, fool, you. And I was like, I don't want to be a teacher. But that story backs up because my grandmother made sure that when I went to college, in order for me to receive a care package, there was a very specific duty I had to perform. I had to major or minor in education. I had no interest in education, but I had interest in those cookies and that pound cake that my grandmama used to make.
Oh,
wow.
wow.
I minored in education, which put me in a position to be able to apply for a job as a teacher because I was already prepared with the pedagogy piece. Once I applied to become the instructor, you know, I really leaned on my dad. At that time, he was teaching, he had just retired from teaching building trades and construction at the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And while he was working that particular job and I was doing my educational practices or education, you know, learning at Howard University, I was giving him ideas on how to communicate the ideas and concepts to the students. So it was really basically like a perfect storm of me landing that position. And it was about a year and a half into the position. I was at a New Year's Eve party. One of my girlfriends had just won a Tony Award for her role in Hamilton. Her name is Renee Elise Goldsberry. And so we were celebrating her and all of her beautiful accomplishments. And she says, Tammy, what are you doing? And I said, oh, I'm just a shop teacher. Like that was just kind of nothing. And I was just like, I just teach shop. And so she says, well, do you have any pictures or videos? And I started showing her the images of what my students and I were doing. And she all but kicked me and said, you're not even on social media. And I said, why do I need to be on social media? I'm teaching kids shop at a high school. She says, no, you have a deadline. You have 3 months to get on social media and start demonstrating what you do in a public forum. Wow. So it is the encouragement of 2 girlfriends, one to get me in the classroom, one to get me out into the public arena. And then my principal, Tia Simmons, at the time, called me the girly shop teacher in an interview. And that spawned the girly shop teacher
Wow.
format. So,
Wow. And as we saw in that video, this woman right here knows what she's doing. But we have another level that we have not talked about. She's now I'm going to say foreman, but she's going to correct me and tell me to say it the right way. Say it the right way.
a forewoman?
She's a forewoman. She's not a foreman.
I'm a forewoman, for
So
women.
when she goes out, and I have called her, I said, what you doing this week? Oh, I'm in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm here. I'm here. I said, well, where does your crew not go? And she just laughs because she can't say that because she's going anywhere they ask her to go.
Yes.
So as the foreman,
Mm-hmm.
do you ever meet resistance from men?
Every day until they get to know me.
Yeah.
Until they get to know me. I was just asked a similar question for shout out DFW. It's part of Dallas Voyage magazine.
Okay.
And in that article, I referenced the fact that I am a cocoa complexion woman who often meets with beige masculinity and resistance. I have been denied work opportunities. I have been second guessed on decisions for whatever that needs to be the best outcome for the safety of people involved based on the construction project that's taking place. But one thing my dad taught me was you're never going to be the smartest person in the room. Okay? You can always learn something. But at the same time, show them what you got, little girl.
There you go.
Okay.
You go.
So a lot of what I say and everything I talk about, you will always hear me refer to my daddy. Just like we started this interview, he permeates through my skin at every turn.
Well, I want to give a shout out to my father.
Yes.
He left home when I was very young, maybe 9 or 10 years old. But before he left, he spent his last 2 summers in my home with my mother and my sisters. Every day he would come get me after school. He had his own business.
Okay.
He would come get me, and I would help him load the truck, unload the truck, and he would give me $1
Oh, nice.
every day. Now,
That's a lot of money.
back then you could go to the movies for
Yeah.
25 cents, and a candy bar was a nickel. So he gave me $1 every day, and he says, look, I better not ever hear of you stealing anything. And he just kept on giving me the dollars, and my mother didn't even know about the dollars. I was hiding the dollars out.
Oh, wow.
Pretty soon, when my dad did leave, I had to get a play uncle of mine to take me to the bank and open up a bank account for me, because back then a kid,
Couldn't open
12,
a bank
13,
account.
he ain't going to no bank and getting a bank book,
Right.
put money in the bank. And so he took me and I opened up the bank account. And so when I turned 17 and I got my license, my mother said to me, you're not getting a car. You're my only son, and I'm not putting you out here in these streets with a car so you can get in trouble. Well, what she didn't know is I had already bought a car.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
The same play uncle that took me to open a bank account, I started working for him and stashing money.
Oh, wow.
And the car was only $300.
Which
It
you
was
had.
a 61 Chevy. I had it in cash.
Yeah.
The insurance was $1,800 a year back then for just liability. I had the money to pay for the first quarter of that, but I didn't have anywhere to take the car to, because I was afraid when I got home my mother was going to give me a whooping like I never had.
Oh, gosh. Those weapons.
But when I did was I took it and hid it in my grandmother's garage for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And my grandmother said, you're taking this car to your house today. And she called my mother up. My mother called up my play uncle, told him off. When I came home, she told me off. And then the next day she says, can you take me to the food store?
Oh, wow.
And I said, those two men right there, my
Mm-hmm.
father,
Mm-hmm.
who was my dad, and
Yeah.
my play uncle,
Yeah.
they guided me
Mm-hmm.
right up to that point.
Wow.
And they made me into an entrepreneur. From there, I opened up several different businesses,
Yeah.
shoveling ashes out of people's
Uh-huh.
basements so they could be taken away, waiting for the women to come from the food store on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of ways. So I understand what you're saying about encouragement. But here's what I need you to do for me. You can include the young guys in this too.
Okay.
To the parents of these youth who are coming up now and watching all of this trash and filth
Mm-hmm.
and everything you say to them, you're competing with the trash that they see every day.
Oh.
They even teach the kids how to talk to their parents,
Okay.
and which is a shame. But what would you say to the mother of say an 8-year-old to get their child going in the right direction to become an entrepreneur?
Well, I'm going to speak from experience on this one. I am the mother of 3 sons, and I primarily raised them solo. So, let's see, I think my oldest was 9, my middle was 6, and my youngest was 3 by the time their father chose to leave our home. And now my oldest is 25, my middle is 23, my baby is 18. And I decided to guide them but have fun with them.
There you go.
So, you know, I initiated chores for my sons. We used to play games when we would clean the house. So once we would finish the laundry, the kids were responsible for gathering up all the socks and getting them out of the, the general laundry. And then they would sort the shirts and sort the pants, and based on, whichever family member it belonged to. After all the laundry was put up, we would, except for the socks, because they would have to roll all the socks into balls. And after all the balls were rolled, we got to play sock rockets, where they got to throw socks at each other. And it was a game. I still find socks sometimes if I move the furniture, and it just makes me laugh. But we made it a game. And then I made a game of cleaning the house, where one kid would walk around with a blue rag and the Windex. The other one would walk around with a yellow rag and the pledge. And the game was called Search and Destroy. So you have to search for the dust or the glass surface, spray it, and then wipe it down. And that's how the house got dusted. Then I would throw balls in the kitchen floor, put some water on the floor, 2 mops, and the kids would play hockey. That's how the floor got mopped.
Wow.
I had to find creative ways to to keep the house in clean condition with 3 sons. By the time they were, coming out of high school, I really didn't clean the house because the boys do it. Now I'm now I'm an empty nester, and it's weird. I have to remember to take out the trash.
Oh,
But, when you get your kids involved and you make things something fun to do, a family experience, they love to do it. The holidays are approaching. Bringing your children into the kitchen to play sous chef with you. Hey, would you mind chopping up these particular vegetables? Or can you defrost, whatever this meat item may be? Do you mind checking the oven temperature? Can you come lick the batter off of, the mixer? All of these things, just bringing them in and including them. I'm cooking. Do you mind, just washing the dishes to help keep the kitchen clean while we're in the process of cooking? Turn on some music, have some fun, something come on real fun. Take your spoons and your plastic bowls and start beating on them. Make a beat with it. Play with your kids in the house. And that translates into everyday life. Even on my way here, my oldest son was gracious enough to take me to the airport. I sat in the car once he parked. He comes around the car, opens the door, holds his hand out, allows me out of the car, opens the back of the car, gets my bag, puts it on my shoulder, gives me a big hug and says, "Mama, I love you." I said,
Wow.
baby, I love you too. There was a row of women that were standing there, and the smiles on their faces when they saw his behavior. But that's something that I made important to them because I showed them how my dad treated my mom.
Mm.
Okay? And whatever Papa did is what those young men wanted to do. All right? So we have to teach our sons how to be caring, but at the same time, we have to teach our daughters how to be respectful with their mouths.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? This is the biggest obstacle between a young lady and her future with a man that loves her.
Mm.
Yep.
That I can believe because sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to tell a little joke. Okay, it's a little bit risque, but it comes from my grandmother,
Go ahead with it.
who was born in the 1900s, early 1900s. And she said there was a woman that goes to the doctor's office yelling at the top of her lungs, "Doctor, doctor, how can a man tell how big a woman is?"
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't try to get that whistle.
That's okay.
The doctor says, by the size of her mouth.
Wow.
There's two things a man don't want loose,
Yep.
is what I later learned.
Yep.
Okay?
I got
And
you
if
on
we
that.
can bring our young ladies back around to the mindset of if those two things aren't loose, you have an opportunity for a gentleman to care for you. And as many songs as there are in our society about being independent, it sounds really good with the hooks and everything. I bop my head to it. It don't feel good when you're laying there at night by yourself,
Mm-mm.
when you don't have anyone to call on to be of support, when you don't have anyone to walk in the house to. All right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have to be very intentional on how we're influencing the next generation, not just in the trades, not just in their professional occupations, but how they're interfacing in the homes with their kids and their families. And what memories are they building? Because memories and traditions are what carry you when the times are hard.
That's
all right?
it. And I think that we as Black Americans, maybe I shouldn't have said Black Americans. I think that we as people of color, we have just totally forgotten what it's like to mesh.
Yeah.
We've forgotten. And I remember my grandmother was one of the biggest influences on me. But my grandmother did not dress like my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And my sisters did not dress like my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And my sisters' babies didn't dress like their mothers.
Mm-hmm.
There was a generational step of image back then.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to say the name of the place. There's a cafeteria I like to go to eat.
Okay.
And the grandmothers are up there with their wig, and I say, "Darn girl, you gotta be 80." and the little, and then the mother, she's doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then the granddaughter, she's got to put her hands all on her hips to make an order.
Yeah.
And then the little baby looking at them.
Right. Leading by example.
Leading by example. And I'm saying there used to be a time, there used to be tears today.
True.
I don't know if
It's
that's
blurred.
Yeah.
The line is definitely blurred.
A lot of our culture is it's just disappeared.
The lines are blurred. And I don't know why that is, but I observe it as well.
I have been, I used to watch a show called Soupy Sales,
I liked him.
okay, and I wanted to be his cameraman.
Okay.
Excuse me. And years later, That's what made me want to buy my first video camera.
All right.
So I've had 35 years in the business.
Mm-hmm.
And my goodness gracious, back then, Soupy Sales used to talk to encourage
Mm-hmm.
kids.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way you really need to be at home.
Mm-hmm.
Who's doing that anymore?
Well, we have lots of music that tells the children that their parents and their parents' influence doesn't matter. We have educational systems that tell children, well, if you don't like what your parents are doing, let us know so we can, take care of that for you. Parenting is an art,
Mm-hmm.
not a right.
Parenting is a very special thing. But here's what most people don't understand. And I said this to a young lady one day not too long ago. She didn't catch it. I said, women are just like dirt.
Okay.
What did you say? I said, well, slow up before you get the word dirt confused with dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Where does all your food come from?
The dirt.
Where does your trees come
Dirt.
from? What must have, even fish have to have what?
Yeah. The nutrients from the
The
dirt.
earth.
Right.
And I said, and all animals, they come from dirt.
Mm-hmm.
You guys should get together and talk it over one night and say, all right, we're stopping all this foolishness because y'all don't realize we reproduce and y'all can't.
Well, there has to be a healthy respect for both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as I can say, yes, women are Mother Earth or
There
the
you go.
dirt,
There you go.
men are the seed.
Yep. And we can't do without them and they can't do
Right.
without
Right.
us.
Right. And what is it said? A fruit is known by the seed that it bears.
Yes, indeedy.
So if we are in an environment where the seed is a vibrant, healthy, producing type of nutrient or type of vegetable, then of
Mhm.
course the earth can nurture it. You
Right.
know, when I think about my daddy's seed, everything that he did, everything that he represented, he produced the most robust fruit. I'm
There
looking
you
at
go.
my siblings, I'm looking at myself, and my dad was just such a influencer in how we did things. And I don't want to discredit my mom at all. She was an incredible woman. But
Obviously.
I'm a daddy's girl.
There
And
you
I
go.
stayed under his feet and I stayed at his toes to do what he was doing. That's just where I love to be because of his nurturing. I'm going to have to compile a video of his smiles because I think his smiles tell it all about the type of man that my father.
Well, Tam, we're out of time.
Well, it's amazing.
You
to
make
be
that
here.
video.
I will.
I know you will. Send it to me.
Yeah.
And we're going to put you on StreamYard.
Okay.
We'll play that video and then we can watch you cry.
I'm not going to
And
cry
give
about
thanks.
it. No, we're not crying about it. We're just celebrating.
You're going to celebrate.
We're celebrating.
We're
We're
gonna
celebrating.
You celebrate, okay?
We're celebrating, and we're going to watch the next generations glean from what he laid down as seed.
And just to, I remember one time I was at a church event for youth, young men, a retreat. And the speaker said, a lot of you guys are going to make babies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you hear talking about Christ, but you're going to make babies.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't be like those fathers that I see that have cars with 28 and 26-inch rims on them that they're paying maybe $1,000 or $1,500 a rim, and then they want the speakers in the trunk, and they
Right.
want the radio, and they want the tinted glass, and then they pull up over to see the baby, and the baby's mother says, I need some money for some diapers.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say, I ain't got nothing right now.
Hmm.
See, already at that point, you're old enough to make a child,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not old enough to manage your business to be a father.
Right.
And
man,
that makes all the difference.
you know, I hear a lot of people with the argument of the money piece, but I make the argument about the availability piece.
That definitely is relevant.
Make yourself available. And yes, things can go haywire in a relationship between a man and a woman.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something to be said for the men that still maintain a positive way that they interact with the mom throughout the child's life.
Mm-hmm.
Kids see that.
They see it.
They see it and they respond to it. And they respect mom and they respect dad very differently when they're able to see them operate in the same environment.
Amen. Amen.
So for those guys out there that are working with situations where mom is hard to work with, just keep on doing it. And ladies, I'm telling you right now in this camera, lower your guard and be kind to those men that are available.
Okay, Tam. We are once again here with Blessed Here by Tam, and we hope to see her again soon.
I will be back.
And thank you for viewing Relevant to You.
Thank you for having me.
You're definitely welcome. We appreciate you,
Thank
sis.
you.
All right.